Hey, Professor O'Sullivan, thank you so much for coming all the way this side. My name is Dan King. I'm a professor at George Fox University, and I have a question. You said something about the therapist mindset, that's one of the obstacles that we have. So one of the things that I see, or if you can speak on, is specific versus non-specific low back pain, or mechanical versus non-mechanical.
The word non-specific back pain, we never would tell a patient that. Never. So the categorization really is taken from a research perspective to say, have you got something on a scan, like a tumor or a nerve compression or a fracture that can be clearly correlated with the patient's clinical presentation or not? If you don't, then you fall into this grey zone, which is called non-specific back pain. That's really a default and a failure of our system to realize that actually, so Martin, this guy has so-called non-specific back pain, but it's very specific. He's highly sensitized in certain structures, and it's linked to a whole bunch of factors that we can identify, that we can clearly articulate to him. So I would never tell him his pain is non-specific. I'd sit down and say, hey, these things are all multifactorial. And actually, you've got a really sensitized structure for a bunch of reasons. One is you're holding the crap out of your spine, locking yourself into hyperextension because you're frightened, and that's really sensitizing those structures. 2, you're not moving. 3, you're not relaxing. 4, you're freaking out and you're not sleeping. So that is going to really wind up your nervous system. That is not non-specific back pain. That is a specific disorder linked to a bunch of multiple factors. And I think giving people these diagnostic labels is really unhelpful. Giving people a multidimensional explanation is really helpful. So we think you've got to change the label system around back pain to say, hey, the cool thing is it doesn't look like your scan's your problem. But actually, there's a whole bunch of things we've identified in your story that you can change, that can make an impact on your health. That's where we're going to go. And so sitting down, as you've seen the last 2 days, where you articulate and go, does that make sense? And they go, got it. So what in that can you change? I can change A, B, C, and D. Cool, that means you're on a journey. So those diagnostic labels are not helpful. The second question was mechanical, non-mechanical, not very helpful again. So if you followed any of my work, you might have seen that we kind of evolved over time. We used to think in terms of subgroups. We don't do that anymore. The best description of subgrouping I've seen was by a guy called Sapolsky, who I think is at Stanford, and he said we describe a rainbow in terms of 7 colors, but actually there's 1 million colors in a rainbow. We just describe them as 7 because it's easy to communicate what a rainbow looks like. So in the same way of pain, we have profiles. You have profiles of tissue sensitivity. You've got profiles of movement. You've got profiles of mood. You've got profiles in terms of levels of physical activity and sleep. And those profiles we can look at across multiple dimensions. Every human being will have a profile that's different to someone else. So we look at characterizing pain, not in boxes, but in terms of profiling across multiple dimensions. It's so much more helpful both for us as clinicians and also for patients. They don't feel boxed and wedged into one category. It's a long answer, I know, but it's a great question.
Can you come to Oregon and